Okay? Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaso Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaso Jamuna Tiravana Chari Munati Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Natira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Natira Javaspad Paramahansa Prabhupada Astatir Siddha Shishiman, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Guru Vaishnava Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara. Shri Maya Pranavdham Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Go Premanandi, all glorious some devotees, all glorious some devotees, all glorious some devotees, all glorious to Shishi Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from the Srimadbhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 26, text number 7. Ya evam karma niyatang vidvan kurvita manavaha karmanatina rajendra jnanena salalapyate. Ya evam karma niyatang vidvan kurvita manavaha karmanatina rajendra jnanena salipyate. Ya evam karma niyatang vidvan kurvita manavaha karmanatina rajendra jnanena salipyate. Evam karma niyatang vidvan kurvita manavaha karmanatina rajendra jnanena salipyate. Evam karma niyatang vidvan kurvita manavaha karmanatina rajendra jnanena salipyate. Evam karma niyatang vidvan kurvita manavaha karmanatina rajendra jnanena salipyate. Ya, anyone who, evam, thus, karma, activities, niyatam, regulated, vidvan, learned, kurvita, should perform, manava, a human being, karmana, by such activities, tena, by this, Rajendra, O king, jnanena, by advancement of knowledge, na, never, sa, he, lipyate, becomes involved. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada ki. Narada Muni continued to speak to King Prachinabarhisat. My dear king, any person who works according to the directions of the Vedic scriptures does not become involved in fruitive activities. Purport. Just as a government may issue trade license in order for its citizens to act in a certain way, the Vedas contain injunctions that restrain and regulate all of our fruitive activities. All living entities have come into this material world to enjoy themselves. Consequently, the Vedas are given to regulate sense enjoyment. One who enjoys his senses under the Vedic regulative principles does not become entangled in the actions and reactions of his activities. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Yagyarthat karmanon yatra. One should act only for the performance of yajna, or to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Anyatra loko yam karma bandhana. Otherwise, any action will produce a reaction by which the living entity will be bound. A human being is especially meant to attain liberation from the bondage of birth, death, old age, and disease. He is therefore directed by the Vedic regulative principles to work in such a way that he may fulfill his desires for sense gratification and at the same time gradually become freed from material bondage. Action according to such principles is called knowledge. Indeed, the word Veda means knowledge. The words jnanena nasa lipyate indicate that by following the Vedic principles, one does not become involved in the actions and reactions of his fruitive activities. So the government gives these licenses to engage in activities which are not very conducive for people, just like there's license for liquor. You could sell liquor, but it's actually very expensive to get a liquor license. Why? Because it's not good for people to take liquor. And there's still some states in America where gambling is not allowed. California is one of them. Well, there's a little bit. Gambling a little bit allowed here in California. But you can't have casinos and stuff like that. Indian reservations, yeah. Poor Indians. They allow that there, yeah. So this is just like we have these four regular principles. Yeah, gambling, it's restricted because it's not good for us. Actually, Prabhupada one time he said, actually, we're all gambling. In our society, we're gambling. Because we don't know the result. We're giving our life to Krishna, but we don't know what the result is going to be. So probably he was kind of joking. So we're also, kind of gambling, dovetailing the gambling propensity. So gambling, intoxication, it's restricted, very much restricted, all around the world, because it's not good. Yeah. You have to be a certain age, to buy it, and it's very expensive to get a license to sell it. So it's restricted for a good reason. It's not good for us. So meat eating used to be restricted. All around the world it was restricted because previously there was Rajarsi kings, and you wanted to eat meat, they had to do it, there's no question of any slaughterhouses or just out. Now you go in India, it's unbelievable. They got these carcasses right out there, and selling the carcasses. It's just unbelievable. You smell and everything. But previously, they could only eat meat according to the regulations of the Vedas. And it's interesting that they could only was I think a goat, maybe some other and before you kill the goat, you whisper in its ear, "I'm killing you now. In the future, you'll kill me." Anybody that has a little bit of common sense will think, well, wait a second, this probably isn't so good for me. It's amazing, huh? So this is the regulation, though. Now it's just horrible, and they're getting the reactions. It's like we have this COVID-19. The whole world is in lockdown. And Prabhupada said war was there, or is there, because they're killing so many animals. So illicit sex also. Previously, even when I was in high school, it was, well, actually, maybe not when I was in high school, but even 50 years ago, 60 years ago, it was a very common thing that girls wouldn't have sex until they got married. 60s, and now it's just like you're 13 years old, they're having sex. It's like, it's ridiculous. And then therefore, because there's so much promiscuity, marriage is just ridiculous. It's just a joke. So the reason there's these restrictions is so that we can live a civilized life. So going on with this purport here. Everyone is therefore advised to act in terms of the Vedic injunctions and not irresponsibly. Like I was speaking to one person, he was an atheist, and I gave him good reason that there's a God. There's so much we don't know, and look at all the organization. And he kind of accepted, okay, all right. But then there's the rules. If you believe in God, then you got to follow rules. See, this is what they don't like. They don't like the rules. And some people leave our society also. We have strict rules. It's not easy to follow. So this is one of the problems of the conditioned souls, that they don't want to follow the laws of God. It's a major problem. When a person within a state acts according to the laws and licenses of the government, he does not become involved in criminal activities. Man-made laws, however, are always defective because they are made by men who are prone to committing mistakes, being illusion, cheating, and having imperfect senses. Just like it's perfectly legal to eat meat, to kill animals. No problem. Yeah. It's horrible. Big problem. Yeah, it's a major problem. Man-made law. The Vedic instructions are different because they do not have these 4 defects. Vedic instructions are not subjected to mistakes. The knowledge of the Vedas is knowledge received directly from God, and therefore is consequently no question of illusion, cheating, mistakes, or imperfect senses. All Vedic knowledge is perfect because it is received directly from God by the parampara disciplic succession. In srimadbhagavatam 1.1.1 it is said, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. The original creature of this universe, sometimes he says creature, the original creature of this universe, known as the Adi Kavi, or Lord Brahma, was instructed by Krishna through the heart. After receiving these Vedic instructions from Lord Krishna himself, Brahma distributed the knowledge by the parampara system to Narada, and Narada in turn distributed the knowledge to Vyasa. In this way, Vedic knowledge is perfect. If we act according to Vedic knowledge, there is no question of being involved in sinful activities. Om Jnanatamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Mukam Krota Vachalam Pangundam Hayategi Yat Kripa Taraham Vande Shigaram Dinataranam Vanchikalpa Tubhyasta Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanam Vaishnavevyo Namo. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So in the human form of life, we're supposed to control our senses. And if we don't control our senses, there's a saying like, otherwise people kind of go hog wild. I don't know how that happened in America, because you don't see hogs, only in the slaughterhouses, is it? Farmers, at least the farmers would see them hog wild. So, yeah, we're meant to control our senses, and the Vedic statement in that is godasas. In America we call it hog wild, and in the Sanskrit it's godasas, servants of the senses. Like the animals. But we're meant to control our senses. Therefore, there's another saying, Goswami, controller of the senses. So this is a human being, someone who can control the senses. Of course, in this age, it's Kala, Kalir, Balina, Indriya, Vairi, Varga. In this age of Kali, it's very difficult to control the senses. Very difficult. And our path, it's covered by millions of thorny obstacles. Prapodananda Saraswati. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya, if you aren't merciful to me, what will I do? Where will I go? So this is we need this mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because it's interesting. He says in this verse, there's millions of thorny obstacles on this path of bhakti. So what does Krishna say? Muchdita sarvadagani mapasara trishisi atachvatang ahankaram nashoshasi vanangshasi. He says, if you become conscious of me, you'll cross over all the obstacles on our path. Yeah. If I react out of false ego, you don't hear me, then you're lost. Yeah. Nobody likes to be lost, but this is the situation that people are in. They're lost. They don't know that what is most important is to serve Krishna, is to please Krishna. Otherwise, one's life becomes like a nightmare. Yeah. Scary. Yeah. It's like we have our neighbors here, all partiers. And just a couple nights ago, there's all this banging and crashing and screaming and like what's going on? It's a nightmare people are living in. Yes. I was many years ago. I was at my sister's house, and I was a babysitter. I was 16, and my niece was 8, and her brother was like 4. So I'm there in the house, and all of a sudden I hear screaming. I mean, screaming, real screaming, and she's in her bed, and she's just screaming. And I go over and I shake her and I said, Tammy, it's okay. It's just a nightmare. You wake up. She wouldn't wake up. So I pick her up and I'm shaking her. Tammy, it's okay. It's just a nightmare. Wouldn't wake up. I'm like, whoa, I'm just a 16-year-old kid. What do I do? So I went to the higher authority. I went to a neighbor and I told her, this is my niece. She's having a nightmare. She's screaming. I can't stop her from waking. I can't wake her up. So she comes over, this lady, and she sees the situation. She's still screaming. And she tells me, go get a cup of water. I said, all right. Bring over a cup of water. And she holds it. She hands it to my niece, and she says to her, drink this. And my niece just took the glass, drunk it, snapped right out of it. I was impressed, Yeah, you'd think they'd just throw it in the face, but no, she just told her, drink this. She took the water, drank it, snapped right out of it, guru. So, this material world is also, it's like a nightmare. People are suffering so much suicide and taking intoxication to forget all their misery. Yeah. So, but people were thinking that we had gone a little crazy, seeing us with the Dhoti and Kurta and chanting. And in 1966, when Prabhupada first sent out the devotees to do Harinam, they came back and said, Prabhupada, the people here in New York City, they think we're crazy. And Prabhupada said, yeah, that's natural. They think we're crazy, we think they're crazy. Yeah. But the difference is, we know they're crazy. We don't think, actually, we know. Because they think they're their body. Just like there's so many people in these mental institutions where they think they're someone that they aren't. Napoleon, or I was distributing books one time in Miami, and I hear this person screaming, unhand me, don't you know? I'm the President of the United States. I'm the President, let me go. There's 4 cops carrying him down the aisle. He's thinking he's the President. So, it's an illusion. But people to think that I'm this body, what's the difference? You think some crazy guy thinks he's the President. But if we're thinking we're this body, it's the same level of insanity, because we're not this body at all. We're the soul. So it's another level of insanity, but it's insanity. And Prabhupada said, to get out of this insanity, this bodily conception of life, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and be happy. So this is the cure. Iti siddhasikam nama, kali kandasanasana, nata pratropari, sarva vedesha dushyate. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is from the Upanishads. So the Upanishads are pointing to this verse. If you want to be free of all contamination, if you want to counteract the sins of Kali Yuga, chant this Hare Krishna mantra. It's actually in 2 Upanishads, I think. Yeah. It's in 2 of the Upanishads, this verse. Yeah. I don't know the other one, but I'll tell you. Maybe you could find it. Mundaka, right? Kali Santara Upanishad and Mundaka Upanishad, I think also. I think. I could be wrong. I've made mistakes before. So Prabhupada gave us this, fortunately, because it's helped so many people, us ourselves as well, to become sane, at least somewhat sane. We used to be completely in the bodily conception of life. Now we're kind of pulling out of it, Sometimes we have glimpses of realization, that I'm actually just a soul within, not this body. And gradually as we continue, we get more and more glimpses, and eventually be a complete realization. Hey, I'm not this body. Won't that be nice? To always be aware that I'm the soul. I'm not this body. So that's something to look forward to. And, of course, that we're the eternal servants of Krishna. So this bodily conception of life, it's kind of like a madness. And therefore, Lord Rishabhdev, he says, Nunam pramata kurte vikarma yadindriya prita apranoti. That when one thinks that the goal of life is to satisfy these senses, one becomes mad after this sense gratification and engages in all kinds of sinful activities. Therefore, he says, one should not engage again in these activities because they're a cause of suffering. They cause us to again accept another material body, and it's a cause of great distress. Yeah. It's like in the srimadbhagavatam, it's stated that there's 4 evidences by which one can understand the temporary, illusory nature of this world. Shruti pratyaksham aitiyam anumanam chatushtayam. Right? The most important one is Shruti, yes, hearing. Hearing from the Vedas. Because throughout the Vedas, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, throughout the Upanishad, giving so much information of the temporary, illusory nature of this world. Yehi samasparsa jaboga dukho yonaya evate adyantavanta konte nate shromate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which is due to contact with these material senses. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end. So a wise person does not take part in such activities. So nobody wants an end to their pleasure, right? Everybody wants pleasure that's going to continue and increase, right? This is what we want, right? Everybody would agree to that. But the nature of this world, not at all like that. It comes to a certain level, then it decreases. And a cause of suffering as well. So, Shruti, Pratyaksham, and there's direct experience. We've all had the experience, right? Everybody in the material world has the experience. That pleasure comes to a certain level. Just like one devotee, he told me he had a brother who was just fixed on getting a brand new Jaguar. That was his goal. He just wanted a brand new, beautiful Jaguar. And he was working hard to get that Jaguar. And finally he got the Jaguar, and he told his brother, this devotee, it was anticipation. It was just so much, just the thought of having it. But then from the time I got it, it was a cause of misery, anxiety. Yeah. And someone dented his car. It was just like torture. So this is the nature of this world. It's anticipation There'll be some pleasure, there'll be some happiness in the future. But no, it's illusory. Maya Sukhaya. It's illusory happiness. There's no real happiness there. No tangible, real happiness. But in pure service to Krishna, this is the happiness of the soul. And devotees experience that. Otherwise, why would we be chanting Hare Krishna for so long and serving Krishna for so long? Yeah, because there's something there. Sruti Pratyaksam Aitiyam. Traditional wisdom. We have so much traditional wisdom in the Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So much. We have such a wealth of knowledge. I mean, when I read the Bhagavad Gita, I was like amazed. I just loved it. I just couldn't put it down. It's like, then when I got to the temple and they showed me the Srimad Bhagavatam, like, wow, this is amazing. And then the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so much. We have so much vast wisdom that just directs us right back to the lotus feet of Krishna. It gets us out of this muck of material existence, cesspool of material existence, and we go to Krishna. So we should take advantage of these literatures. Prabhupada said we should chant at least, or we should read at least 1 to 2 hours a day. But many devotees, they don't do this, and because of that, many devotees have left. And when this movement first started, there wasn't a Srimad Bhagavatam class. Anybody know what year? Maybe it's 1970 or something? 69 or 70. So many devotees were leaving, and Prabhupada understood that they're not reading the book, so therefore they have to come together and hear together the Srimad Bhagavatam. They started, and Prabhupada had them chanting the verses. I'm listening to classes Prabhupada was given in Tokyo in 1970, so he started, I guess that's maybe where they started. Everybody's reading the verses. Everybody read the verses. Yeah, memorizing the verses, because people were leaving. So Prabhupada wanted devotees to become more studious. I don't know if I mentioned this here, but when Prabhupada was in Mexico City, he told the devotees that they should have classes for each of the books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, like an hour each, and have 10-minute breaks, like a university. Of course, that never happened. But he wanted the devotees to actually, at one point he said, you should know my books like a lawyer knows his law books. And lawyers, at least some of the lawyers, they really know the law books. And Prabhupada said that if you're distributing books and you're not reading the books, then people come to you, well, what's in the book? Oh, I don't know, I just distribute them. Prabhupada said, this won't look good. You're distributing, but you're not reading. No, you got to read the books. Yeah. So it's so important that we hear this knowledge, and then we become, our faith increases actually, and Krishna's pleased just by hearing this knowledge and relishing. Shrimvatam sva kata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hriyantasto yavadrani vidanoti suhitsatam. That Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, was the Paramatma, the super soul in the hearts of all living entities, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire from material enjoyment from the devotee who simply relishes his messages. It's like one of my favorite verses. This is the kindness of Krishna. Yeah. Just hear and relish, and I'll help you. I'll give you faith. I'll help you back to me. Yeah. This is the kindness of Krishna. Yeah. So traditional wisdom and logical induction. These are the 4 evidences. What's an example of logical induction? by which we can understand the temporary illusory nature of this world. Javita has something. He'll say something. Well, who's got the mic? Oh, there's no mic, huh? Oh, okay. Hey, I'll repeat. Say, Javita. I've seen people die within my lifetime, therefore life is temporary. Man is mortal. Yeah. We all want to live. Nobody wants to die unless someone's just suffering so much, but it's just a normal person doesn't want to die. And this is the greatest fear, and therefore people think that, oh, he's died, my grandmother's died, my grandfather, but I'm not going to die. Yeah. This is the most amazing thing. Yeah. Yudhisthira Maharaj said, most amazing thing. So we want to live eternally. We want to be happy. There's so much suffering here in this world. People are dying. Now we have this COVID-19 causing so much anxiety, an ocean of anxiety. I was distributing books the other day, and I tried to hand it to one lady. She said, no, COVID. She didn't want to touch the book. Yeah, she was scared. There's so much fear. Yeah, it's amazing. But on the other hand, there's No, she was maybe 25. Finally, she took the book and then didn't take the book. So, but yeah, this place it's a place of fear. It's a place of illusion. Yeah, so much illusion. Just like I was distributing, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, and this person said, I mean, it's amazing. I don't know how this started, but 20 or 30 years ago, you never heard this. Now we try to give him a book. No, I'm good. I mean, practically, 95% of the people now, they say that. No, I'm good. I don't know where they got that mantra from. So you guys said, no, I'm good. I said, but you can be better. And he said, no, I am fantastic. He really wanted to let me know, boy, he's having a great time in life. Yeah. And I just laughed. Said, oh, good, you have a good time. Yeah. But he was about 55, maybe 60. You talk to him again in 20 years. Yeah. So it's temporary. It's temporary. Yeah. Yeah, or anything. He's just driving down the street. And someone wrecks into his car. Ah! So many things. Right? So many things go wrong in this world. Nobody wants anything to go wrong, but all the time something's going wrong. Yeah? So, better take shelter of Krishna. And Krishna, he has a way of making things go right. Yeah? So here in the purport, Prabhupada mentions that Veda means knowledge. So we're being given knowledge by which we can become free of bondage. Who wants to be bound? Nobody wants to be bound. Yeah. Shackled. Nobody wants to be. It's like you see the kids. We see so many kids in their carriages, and you see they're just screaming. They're in prison. They're in these little carriages. They're active. They're 2 years old, and they got so much energy. They just want to run everywhere. The parents put them in these carriages, and it's just like it's torture. So they're being bound. They don't want to be bound. Nobody wants to be bound. There's prisons, and people are trying to escape from prison. Nobody wants to be bound. So how to become free of this bondage? And people don't know that the desire for sinful activity, this is bondage. Also, this causes our suffering. So this is ignorance. So therefore, Prabhupada said our most important activity is to give this knowledge out. Just like we also didn't know. We had no idea it was wrong to eat meat. One of the most sinful activities a person can engage in. But we didn't know. We didn't know. Only in India. Do people think it's sinful in India? Mostly. But probably only India. Probably India is the only place, and many of them also, they're eating meat now also, isn't it? It's increasing like anything. But although they know, isn't it? Still they know, but they'll chant Hare Krishna to get over it, or something else. Yeah. So we didn't know. And take intoxication? Yeah, we thought probably not good, but everybody does it, Illicit sex? It's good. Yeah. Oh yeah. And in psychiatry, if someone has some psychological problem, they go to the psychiatrist and he says, you need a girlfriend. That's it, you need a girlfriend. She'll pick you up, That's one of their big things, That's right. So, yeah. We have to distribute this knowledge, give this knowledge out to the people. It's the only hope. I just got some interesting news, some really good news. You want some good news, some good morning news? This Ananda Vidya Prabhu, he's just returned from India, and another devotee, Paramakaruna. They're distributing books in Michigan now, and they're distributing tons of books. Each day, each of these devotees, they're distributing over $1,000 worth of books. They have a table. At a university. They're fired up. Maybe the students are shooken up by this whole COVID-19, and they're looking for some knowledge, to pull them through this. But they're, unheard of. No one has ever done $1,000 worth of books in a day at a university, and they're doing it every day. It's unbelievable, unheard of. Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So they're not doing sets, but there's a devotee in Utah. They're doing parking lots, and they're doing sets, full sets in the parking lot. That's another unheard of. He got the set in the truck. Devavrata Prabhu, and there's another devotee there, dear Lalita. He's selling the sets because Devamrita Swami, he's encouraging his disciples to do sets. So they always have, therefore Shastrakrit, he's also selling sets from the table over there in Atlanta. So Devamrita Swami, he's really pushing these sets. So they're unheard of, selling sets at a parking lot. What? We're trying to get, one book. Yeah, just some Walmart parking lot or something. So what it is they find people that already have some of Prabhupada's books, and they like the books. Well, hey, we have a full set. Oh, really? What? Show it. Let me hear it. Let me see it. Sell the whole sets. And another, you want to hear some more good news? Another amazing thing that's happened. It's never happened before. They have this. They have this. Recently, we had this Bhadra campaign. Now, for the last 2 years, they've done 7,000 sets. So this time they shot for 10 worldwide. This time they shot for 10,000 sets. So far, they've done 23,000. So far. It's unbelievable. Bhima in India, he's calling India's really on fire with the set. Was it New Delhi alone? They I think it was 5,000 sets. They vowed 5,000 sets. They haven't done them yet, but they think it shouldn't be a problem. Excuse me? No. 5,000 just New Delhi temple. But now for the world, last year we did 7,000 Worldwide. For the whole year. Yeah, yeah. So this year, so far, we've done 23,000, whole world. And who knows what's going to happen. I mean, this is actually the Bhadra campaign isn't just for the month of Bhadra, it's for the whole year. But it was kind of... So yeah, let's open it up for questions. Or yes? Live to give is the new motto for the marathon. Yeah, live to give. Yeah. Okay. Live it, give it. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, when you distribute the books, then the books come alive in the life of the book, of course, in everyone, but especially when you're out there distributing, because you're talking to people that haven't a clue about who they are, so you're giving them books. And quite often they ask me, so what have you gotten out of this? What's the most essential thing you've gotten out of this? I tell them, this knowledge has helped me understand that this is not me. And then I tell them, this is also not you. You're the soul in. You're the soul within the body. This body is going to die. You're not going to die. Nothing can kill you. They're like, oh, well, that's good news. So, yeah, we're giving good news. Book distribution means we're giving good news to the people. So, we have to increase. Yes, Prabhu. That's also pratiksha. That's also experience. That's also... So, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. That's why I asked Dravida. He's already... So... Okay. But there's also historical... Oh, okay, because that's Shastra also. That's true. That's okay. That's true. Yeah. Logical induction. Now that would be interesting. How to separate that from Shastra, or... Oh yes, yes, yeah. Good point. But also, just to the ordinary people, they want to hear logic. You know, give me some logical, some logical reason behind what you're doing. So yeah, that's a good point. Yes, Dravida Prabhu. Well, come on over. Oh, you could say that.
Krishna, Krishna. Where's Tapas and Janardhan? Dropping the ball, right? Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada would often use two aspects of logic, and one is so common that we probably didn't think of it. This is my hand, this is my foot. Children can understand, as Prabhupada would say. We don't say I hand, my foot, and it really works. People say, yeah, it's it's even my mind. And so this is a very good way of getting people waking up that I'm not
Krishna,
the body.
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Yes.
Hare.
No, that's actually the right one. He should be over there with B. And the other one is the existence of God. How, look, you see a watch lying on the ground, you're walking along. You don't think it just grew up there with the grass. You know that there was intelligence behind it put together. Well, everything we see is so nicely organized, isn't it? And the sun rises at the right time, and think of your own body, everything regulated, 98.6, if you got a little more temperature, you got COVID, So, do you think that there's no brain behind it? Does it make sense that there's no intelligence? This is the other way probably we use logic to get people thinking about, there must be a God.
But specifically this verse says that these are the 4 evidences by which one can understand the temporary illusory nature of this world. Not that there's a God or...
No, but they can be applied to all kinds of things. The whole philosophy is resting on those, especially Shruti, of course.
Yeah, okay, good.
So I asked my question already, but you might remember, probably not, but yesterday we were talking about unrestricted senses. That's what the conditioned soul wants to run with. And I quoted Bob Dylan, "Dogs run free, why can't we do it in the road?" I said, but animals get away with it, but people can't. Then I said, but it's coming very soon, before you know it. So yesterday afternoon, I heard this journalist reporting of the condition of New York City now, because they've shut down their police. They've really hobbled the police where they're not allowing them to make arrests and things like that. There's anarchy going on all over, criminal activity. So they said so many videos are on the social media of people doing drugs right on the street, and even sexual activities on the street. And that's what we've come to.
It's happening right now.
It's coming right now. It's happening.
Wow.
He's on a morning walk. I mean, he's seeing some of that on the beach. He said, because he said this is uncivilized. Animals can do it, but now we're seeing human beings do it. And he said, yes, we've seen on the beach people having sex.
Yeah.
So it's
Kali Yuga is going fast forward now, folks. Got to get the books out there. Anything else? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. But that's strange, because I thought the COVID-19 had